This time on the 411, the inauguration, the Super Bowl, and Capitol Hill. We start off the show this week with this. A South Carolina lawmaker, Republican Senator Lee Bright, is sponsoring a bill that would make way for a high school class that teaches students how to shoot guns. Suggesting it will be a class just like sports. Gun classes, specifically, regarding safety? A good idea. Arming teenagers who are most likely still developing their mental capacity with weapons in a school? Why not just add alcohol safety class to boot? Maybe put them together even. That would be great, right? No. Next up, in news that should surprise no one, the average price for a Super Bowl ticket is $2,130, which is comparable to what season tickets would cost for your favorite team. Front row seats, $49,000 a pop. Now that's not including travel, room, food, and entertainment, nor does it include the divorce lawyer you're going to need should you decide that during these uncertain economic times, that's the best way to spend your hard-earned cash. $2,130 would buy a nice flat-screen TV, food, and some friends to party with to watch the Super Bowl. Take what you would spend on travel and hotels and buy a nice couch on which to sit. Still thinking? Then just scrap the idea and invest in a good psychologist to sort out why you're still thinking. Really, truly. Go Steelers. I know they're out. Next up, an Indiana law barring sex offenders from joining social networks like Facebook, Twitter, and various chat rooms was ruled unconstitutional by a federal appellate court Wednesday. Originally passed in 2008, the law was deemed unconstitutional as it was in violation of the First Amendment. Great. Go Hoosiers. And it was a gigantic week in D.C. with everything from the inauguration and all its trimmings to the hearings by Hill, on the Hill, for Congress. First up in D.C. news, Hillary Clinton took to the Hill this week to finally give her testimony to Congress on all things relating to the September 11, 2012 Benghazi attacks that took the lives of 4 Americans. Ms. Clinton conceded on some of the accusations, pledging to make sure the department has the resources it needs to reduce the risks in the future. She also looked strong and assured in her first public appearance in weeks. For anyone hoping for a weakened Hillary, they were surely disappointed as she won the day with a combination of power, dignity, and assuredness of someone whose biggest political days might just be ahead of her and not behind. But the biggest event of the week was the second inauguration and final swearing in to public office of Barack Hussein Obama. If you found yourself at the inauguration but unable to focus on or perhaps even hear the proceedings, it might have been due to the man in the tree, as he's come to be known. The vocal protester disrupted 44's second public swearing in with loud and sustained anti-abortion and Obama as anti-Christ chortles. Well, fear not pro-choice liberals, that man, a Mr. Rives M. Gorgon, has been barred from Washington, D.C. thanks to D.C. Judge Karen Howes. Now, as deeply as annoying as this man's presence was, and it was deeply, deeply annoying, we shouldn't be about the business of muffling free speech of any kind in this great nation of ours, especially at inauguration. It's un-American, plain and simple. But the man in the tree wasn't the only one who was lukewarm on Obama's second-term festivities. A variety of high-profile African-American figures voiced everything from jubilation to out-and-out disdain for Obama's swearing in as the President of the United States. First African-American. Isn't it a wonderful time we're living in where on MLK Day of all days, some Americans are able to go beyond the color of Obama's skin enough to judge him on the content of his character and his policies, and why he should and his policies should or shouldn't be a certain way based on the color of his skin, at least in part. But in this most important inauguration news of all, that amazing performance Beyonce Knowles gave when she sung the Star-Spangled Banner in front of 1 million adoring Obamaites live and hundreds of millions more watching TV across the globe was reportedly lip-synced. I mean, what is this world coming to? That's so appalling. How could she? Lip-sync gate is fast tearing this country apart. Now we can't focus on other important tabloid threads like Mentai Te'o's dead fake girlfriend and Lance Armstrong's dead fake greatness. Now we'll have to focus on whether or not a super talented singer decided to cover her bases on a cold day in January, as opposed to trivial things like the dead, guns, our eroding privacy, and our soldiers wounded and dead from long foreign wars, plural. Wars. I mean, really. Really, how dare you, Miss Knowles? That's all for this week on the 411. We'll leave you with that. Keep an eye out next week for our Tweet Up Tuesday on January 29th at 1 p.m. Eastern, when we'll talk about human trafficking, how it affects our communities, and how to combat it. Track the hashtag L21SexTrafficking. It's going to be a spirited and wonderful debate. Find us on Facebook, unless, of course, you're a sex offender, and follow us on Twitter, unless, of course, you're a sex offender. We don't want to be followed. I'm Matt Simon, and remember, it's Saturday. It's the 411. I'm going to now go delete my Facebook account so the sex offenders don't follow me. Thanks for joining me.